Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live from our studios here at Kokumlimle's Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we're live on Love 99.5 FM and affiliates across the 16 regions of Ghana, including Kekeli Radio in Ho, Radio Sumale in Wa, and Radio Justice in Tamale. Better still, you can please download the My Joy Online app from Play Store and App Store to listen live around the world. In this edition, death toll in Kumasi flats rise to 2 after many homes, markets, and streets are affected.
Lost our clothes, materials, shoes, our hair, a lot.
We have details as the Ghana Meteorological Agency says Ghana's major cities, including Accra and Kumasi, have lost their ability to withstand heavy rains.
Water cannot percolate into the soil. It needs to run off, and that causes a flash flood. When you look at the data we have, the rains that are falling in Axim area, if quarter of it should fall in Accra, Accra will submerge.
Also in this bulletin, High Court rules that the Attorney General can represent the police service in a case seeking to halt the Fix the Country Street protest. We have details. Minority in Parliament demands immediate withdrawal of a directive from Urban Roads suspending routine and periodic road maintenance contracts.
We can't accept this position of government. We expect government to withdraw this threat. I call it threat because when the roads are bad, you and I know what it means. Accidents.
We'll tell you the rationale behind that directive. Also in sports.
It's about the clash of the two heavyweights in Ghana football. House of Oak face Asante Kotoko this weekend in a potential title decider. We have more from the camp of the two rivals later in sports.
See, we are the pride of Ghana, the Porcupine Warriors, 24 Ghana Premier League winners.
Please, we are the Continental Club Masters. And when it comes to our anthem, you know what? Arrows, arrows, arrows. Be quiet and don't be silly.
And later in Showbiz will tell you all the latest songs released this week. You know the vibe. Maybe you know, maybe the one way that my mind. So baby girl, I ain't tryna waste no time. We have that and more in this edition of the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. Please stay for details. And this afternoon, at least 2 people have been killed following flooding in the Ashanti regional capital of Kumasi. Many homes, streets and shops were flooded following 24 hours of heavy rains. Nanaya Ojima reports on the impacts of the rains in the past 2 days.
Thursday night's rains destroyed property, running into thousands of cedis at the built Kejitia market.
Lost our clothes, materials, shoes, our hair, a lot.
What the car 1.2? Yeah, 2 so Musa, what the canteen 2 so amount on him.
The central business district of Edum was also affected. On Wednesday, floods in a 3-hour downpour swept away a toddler at Sawaba. A former mayor of Kumasi, Samuel Sapon, is among residents affected by the 2-day floods in suburbs like Paraku Estate, Daban, Eseso and Atasimaso. Several other places were also flooded on the day. He is unhappy the city authorities have failed to stop a private developer from building on waterways.
I complained, and what they told me was that their government is in power. In for that matter, nobody can tell them anything. It's very, very appalling. There is total lawlessness because we have the metropolitan assemblies, the district assemblies. They have to make sure that nobody takes the law into his hands.
The recent rains and the floods are the most impactful Kumasi has ever experienced in recent years. Areas including Aloga Junction, Dagomba Line, KNUST, and Airport Roundabout were affected. At Santase Kokobin and Bokurum, it took hours for the rain to recede to allow flow of vehicular traffic. Many are disposed as NADMO calls for persons in flood-prone areas to relocate as the rains get heavy. Poor drainage system and indiscriminate dumping of refuse are identified among causes of increasing flooding. Early this year, the Minister for Works and Housing, Francis Asenso-Boakye, announced the government's plans to improve drainage system in the city.
As you know, flooding is not something that we can eliminate completely, and that is why we are building concrete lining along the drainage channels. We are doing the silting, and we are building new drains.
Well, so that's my colleague Nanaya Ojima's report. I'll take you live on the ground now. And joining me is Ohiming Terrier, because we're hearing of the report of a 53-year-old old woman of 3. And she's confirmed dead after being swept away by floodwaters at Anglonga, Suswechi in the Oforikro municipality of the Ashanti region. Ohiming, give us details about this incident.
Yes, MFR, the deceased, Madame Akosua Dufi, was actually returning from market where she traded second-hand clothes. Just as she got to the edge of the footbridge, a gentleman beckoned on her and other residents not to use the footbridge because the water was just under the bridge. But she ignored all these warnings and joined some other residents to cross the bridge. So somewhere in the middle of the bridge, it collapsed, and she was swept away together with 2 others. The 2 others were rescued, but unfortunately, she could not be rescued. Her body was discovered 500 meters away from the scene. I have been speaking to Solomon Kusi, the assemblyman for Anloga Susenchi.
It happened yesterday evening when there was a heavy downpour. Around 5:30 there, about getting to 5:45. We experienced a heavy downpour and it was flooded. And we have not experienced that flood before because the bridge that we have constructed is high. So I wonder how the bridge was able to collapse at that particular time. It was flooded, but I don't understand the reason why they have to risk their life in order to cross the bridge by that time. Because it's level with the bridge, and a lot of people were trying to cross to the other communities. Even for them to do one at a time, I think would have helped at that time. But all of them, they decided to just walk on the bridge. I think that landed. One woman was around telling that they should stop, nobody should walk on the bridge. But some of them, they turned ear deaf on what the woman was saying, and they just walk on the bridge. That unfortunate incident has.
So that's the situation in Kumasi. You heard my colleague Ohiming Terrier reporting, giving us updates on that situation there. But the Ghana Meteorological Agency is predicting more floods, and that Ghana's major cities may not be able to withstand heavy rains. According to head of forecasting of the Meteo Agency, Joseph Tetekpotufe, he says human actions, including building in waterways, pavement, among others, are blocking free flow of water, causing these floodings. Thankfully, he joins us on the line. We are grateful for your time here on the Midday News, Mr. Joseph Tetekpotufe. So let's talk about the magnitude of rains that we're expecting this year.
Thank you very much for having me. Yes, this year over the eastern corridor, we predicted for the rainy season, we predicted 430 to 540 millimeters of rain. For the forest and hilly areas, we predicted 700 to 900 millimeters of rain. And then if you look at what happened in Kumasi yesterday, those predictions are coming. It is coastal areas that we are not getting the rains as we expected due to some 1 or 2 things.
Well, it looks like this year we started recording it all the way in May. Up to which month are we hoping that we'll still have rains this year?
Oh, the rains, there are 2 things. We, along the coast and the middle belt, have 2 rainy seasons, the major and the minor. So what will happen is, by ending of July to August, we'll have what we call the little dry spell, where there will not be rain for maybe 20 days or 15 days. And then what we only get is drizzle and showers. Then getting to mid portions of September, the minor season will come in up to the way of November. Then we get into the Harmattan. That is for those of us along the coast and then the middle belt. But for the northern part of the country, now that the rain has started for them, it will continue up to October ending. Then it will also end their rainfall.
Okay, so when you say that major cities, including Accra and Kumasi, have lost the ability to withstand heavy rains, how exactly do you mean?
Yes, the resilient level of a city, especially Accra, Kumasi, Takrady, Tema, and its environs, coming down because we have put structures where when we build our homes these days, we are expected to leave a certain area for grain, at least vegetation. But we decide to pave everywhere. When you go to Kotoka International Airport, everywhere is paved. So when it rains along that area, the water must find somewhere to pass. Unfortunately, our drainage systems too are not so big. We are putting a lot of refuse settings into the drainage systems. So when it happens like that, the resilient level of the city to withhold a lot of water has also reduced.
Okay.
So when you have 3, 4, 5 consecutive rains and the soil is saturated, then any additional rain will cause flash flood. When you look at the rains that are falling in Axim and you compare it to what is happening in Kumasi and Accra, it is nowhere near what is happening in Axim. But because the whole place is vegetated, the water is able to percolate into the soil and run into rivers and streams and get into the sea. So we will not be hearing them experiencing those flash floods. And because of the structures, superstructures that we have in the cities, it means flash floods will always be with us.
Okay, we're grateful. That's Joseph Potufi Tete. He's head of forecasting at the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Let's bring in Nadmo also on this. Georgia, you see, is public relations officer of the National Disaster Management Organization. We're grateful for your time. So you have a role to educate and ensure the prevention of such disasters where possible. How exactly are you hoping to carry out the mandate at this time?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, regional directors and district directors have been instructed to embark on community sensitization and public education in their communities and localities. And so that has been going on. But rightly, as the Meteo guy said, there are certain places that are flood prone. They are within the flood prone area and they are living there. So the best way maybe is to either evacuate them or relocate them. And that becomes a major government decision, especially on the relocation issues. And so that's how come we're having some of these challenges, where we are doing community education and sensitization to make the people aware of where they stay and the dangers inherent.
And mostly it's been the issue about your ability to extend support to people who have been affected by the recent rains and floods. We've heard from residents of Kumasi. How exactly are you hoping to support them briefly?
Yeah, thank you. When incidents like this happen, the first thing we do is to help save lives and property, and thereafter we make assessment. After the assessment report is given that determines the effect or the impact it's had on the people and what they will need, what kind of support we need to give them. And so until we get the assessment report, then we know what to give to the people, whether A, B, or C. And so we need to get the report. We don't just immediately carry relief items to people because there's been a situation. We have to get the report, and then that would determine what kind of relief or support we give them.
We're grateful. That's Georgia, you see, Public Relations Officer of NADMO. We'll stay a while longer on the environment. This time, the EPA has stopped ongoing construction of a cement factory very close to the Wager Junction here in Accra. My colleague Maxwell Agwagba is on that beat for us. He joins us with the very latest. Maxwell, what can you report?
Well, at the stand now, officials of the Environmental Protection Agency and then the police personnel here on the ground are trying to get the over 50 workers who are busy at work here this morning outside the project site. They said they would not allow them to continue with the work here. So as it stands right now, there's some move out of the
It appears Maxwell Agwagba's telephone line will not allow us to complete that report, but there will be more of that on myjoyonline.com. I'll take you to the court now, where an Accra High Court has ruled that the Office of the Attorney General can represent the Ghana Police Service in a case seeking to halt a street protest. The Fix the Country campaigners had urged the court to dismiss a case seeking to restrain them from embarking on a street protest. The campaigners say only a police officer can make a request under the Public Order Act to restrain protesters from hitting the streets. The court, however, disagreed with this view, ruling that the AG has every right to handle such a matter. Court correspondent Joseph Akable joins us with more. Joseph, run us through the highlights of the court's decision.
And so the point that the court made is to indicate that under the Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution, the Attorney General is responsible for the defense and initiation of all criminal and civil matters. I mean, MFA, there's an interesting development as I speak to you now. And while the arguments are going on in court, some of the protesters have actually pitched camp outside the court premises with placards that have various inscriptions, including one that says that they want the country to be fixed, among others. We can listen to some of them, what they make. Why have you got it here?
Yeah, man, because of the country. You all know that something is going on. It's Ghana here, that's the Africa, Ghana. It's going to fix the country.
But your people are in court. What you are doing is not allowed. Why have you decided to get out the court case over?
All right. We have decided now, but we know that, inshallah, we are going to win in the court rule. So we have decided to start roaming about, but we are not demonstrating. We are not demonstrating right now, but we are just roaming about and showing our banners. Yes, the government has to fix the country. The government.
Is this not what you wanted to do by way of the demonstration, which the court, you are arguing in court as we speak now?
Helping our people inside there.
And so, MFA, you heard the justification by some of them here. They are holding various placards, have the inscription, fix the country, and others have, if not now, then when. And as far as they say, they are not breaching any laws as it stands. But what is actually happening in the courtroom now is that their lawyers are arguing before the court, explaining to the judge why they should be permitted to do what they are doing in this particular form as we speak. Earlier, the court ruled that the Attorney General, under Article 88 of the Constitution, is the right person to defend and initiate such actions. And even if the police service wants to initiate such an action, they will require case permission to do so. And
that's our court correspondent Joseph Akablay there. Now, if you're expecting repairs on your roads, you may have to forget it for now, because the Urban Roads Directorate has suspended routine and periodic road maintenance. Joy News has intercepted a letter demanding a freeze on such contracts. The minority in Parliament is unhappy with this development and demanding an immediate withdrawal of that directive. Dr. Abbas Awolo, in a memo to regional directors directing the suspension, explained it as an order from the Ministry of Roads and Highways. Elton Brobe joins us with more from that memo. What more does it say, Elton?
So, this is dated the 7th of May 2021. It says management has been instructed not to award any new routine or periodic management of roads contract till further notice. You are therefore to take notice and abide by this directive. Kindly inform all metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies within your jurisdiction to obey the directive from the Ministry of Roads and Highways. As a result of this, any payment certificate received for a new contract shall be returned immediately to its original source. And this is signed by Engineer Dr. Abbas Awolo, Director, and is copied to all regional heads of the urban roads.
And the minority is not happy about this development. We can hear from the ranking member on Roads and Highways Committee, Roads and Roads Committee in Parliament, Kwame Aguja.
To say that at this time that every community whose roads are bad are expecting government action, and to tell us that that is not going to happen, it's unacceptable. Even if it's about money, I keep telling them it is a choice for government to prioritize how they spend the taxes they collect from us. For instance, road fund generated about 1.8 billion Ghana cedi last year. Government decided to give them only 1 billion thereabout. And in this year's budget, only 1 billion has been put in as capital investment on roads, whilst road fund alone would generate about 1.9 billion. What it means is that government takes money in the name of roads and use it to do other things not related to roads. So we can't accept this position of government. We expect government to withdraw this threat. I call it threat because when the roads are bad, you and I know what it means. Accidents, inability of drivers to convey foodstuff and other things to the appropriate destinations where people consume. It makes farmers poorer. It makes drivers poorer because vehicles get damaged more and they have to pay more. So this is not in the interest of anybody.
That's the minority spokesperson on roads and transport, Governs Kwame Agbuja. I'll take you to Parliament now, and the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, James Kluti-Aveji, is unhappy that Communications Minister Eslo Owusu-Ekufo failed to appear before the committee today. You recall that yesterday, the roads as well as works and housing ministers also failed to show up, prompting the chairman to surcharge them for the cost of sitting. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo joins us live with updates from that sitting. So have they received their bills in terms of how much they've been surcharged first?
Not yet. The two ministers themselves are not part of the ministers appearing today, and so by close of day, we'll check with the chairman as to whether they've computed the figures for them.
And today, he's been raising concerns also about another minister, Communications Minister Eslo Owusu, failing to appear before the committee.
He made the point that the committee is very much unhappy because initially when the chief director appeared before the committee, they agreed to commence the process because the explanation was that the minister was on her way, but eventually she didn't show up, and the chairman directed that communication goes out to her that they are unhappy.
Well, but apart from this, though, the committee has been sitting. Do we have other ministers appearing? What else have they been dealing with?
The Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Samuel Abu-Jinapor, has appeared before the committee with the Land Commission. There's been an issue with money that one of the banks here in Ghana collected on behalf of the Land Ministry that hadn't been paid to government of Ghana on time. And the explanation is that it's one of the things that happened in 2017 that has been resolved. There's also been other public interest conversations around the tree planting exercise. And the minister has given the assurances that processes are in place to ensure that the trees planted on 11 June are nurtured so they grow into mature species.
Parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Death toll in Kumasi floods rise to 2 after many homes, markets and streets are affected. When we return, we have sports. So it's the Super Clash this Sunday. Which club carries the day? Kumasi, Asante Kotoko, Accra, of Oak. And later in Showbiz also will tell you or will let you in on all the latest songs released this week.
You know the vibes. Maybe you know, maybe the one way that my mind. So baby girl, I ain't tryna waste no time. Yeah.
I won again. I won, oh. I won again, oh. This MTN spin the wheel. It is simple. Yeah, top up your airtime. Text spin to 5040 and win your prize. Simple. And you can win up to 30,000 Ghana cedis every month. Text VIP to 5040 to enjoy 10 additional points. I won, oh.
MTN. Everywhere you go.
It's the power of 8. Adansi Travels is 8 years, and as part of the celebration, we are offering you the Power of 8 cruise in collaboration with Joy 99.7 FM for only $3,500 per person and $6,900 per couple. You will get to cruise 3 beautiful countries, Greece, Turkey, and Italy, and be mesmerized by the breathtaking 8 wonderful cities: Santorini, Mykonos, Athens, Ephesus, and the legendary Rome, all from the 28th of August to the 7th of September 2021. It will be your perfect vacation, and you get to know and see the fun side of me, Emefa Apau. I will kill you with enjoyment. Enjoyment, enjoyment. Just wait. That's not all. One lucky loyal listener gets to be my special guest for absolutely free. So keep listening to Joy 99.7 FM for details. You can visit www.adansitravels.com or call 055-631-0404 to secure your spot now with $1,000 and pay the rest later. Remember, it's $3,500 per person and $6,900 per couple. Adansi Travels. Feel life's beauty. The Power of 8 cruises with Adansi Travels is in collaboration with Joy 99.7 FM.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. It's time for sports.
My
Yeah,
Super
MFR,
Clash, tell us
yes,
about
you
it.
hear these two songs, of course, it's between House of Folk and Asante Kotoko, and that potential title decider comes off this Sunday at the Accra Sports Stadium at 3 p.m. The two clubs have 56 points apiece, and a win for one team would see them open a 3-point lead at the summit of the table. We will hear from the house boss Samuel Buadu, but first though, is Kotoko head coach Mariano Barreto.
We are facing each match to win the league. Even I'm too much disappointed. And when finish the league, I will tell Kotoko fans why. No, this is not the time to tell these things.
Sure.
I'm put my focus to help this boy because nobody can imagine how hardly they work because Kotoko fans are fantastic.
Okay.
Not the guys who are written in the Facebook.
Okay.
It's the guy who come here to help us, who cry for us, who are singing for us. And this is what makes me motivated every day to come and work.
Very beautiful, very fantastic. Then all of the spectators can witness that the fact that House of Folk, we have a good team. We have a players who listen to instructions tactically, mentally, and physically. They are really good. And I love the boys so much. What I need from them is they should come in numbers to support the team and the boys as well. We are going to deliver. They shouldn't worry at all. We need the 3 points. We don't have problem with Koto, but we have problem with the 3 points. Yeah, we are looking for that 3 points.
Confident Samuel Buadu there, and MFR. Look,
He has every right to be confident.
so who are you rooting for this time around?
Is it not obvious by now?
I don't know. You just have to say.
Phobia.
Phobia. They are carrying the
Masters.
day on Sunday. Well,
Yes.
we live to see,
The
but we've got
game,
you live.
We've already played it. We know the scores already.
And what's the score? What's the score?
We've won. What's your problem?
But I want to know the score line.
Oh, like 2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
Okay,
2-1.
Monday we'll meet here. But we've got live commentary for you. George Ado Jr. and then Gabriel Smith will give you live commentary. That's your spot.
Thank you very much, Mubarak.
There are people who be going to toilet without a scribe. They cannot go and do that.
It is wrong.
No, the toilet will not smelling. There is no any other toilet which that don't smell.
Scenes at a public toilet at Aveno here in Accra when environmental health inspectors of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly stormed the place. The facility, which has been operating for more than 4 decades, has not seen any renovation since its construction. Patrons of the toilet facility, which is inundated by flies, are exposed to the mercy of the weather. My colleague, Manuel Kranting, has more from our Clean Ghana campaign.
We are forcing you people. If you say we are forcing you to come and do this toilet, you people don't know what to do. And look at what you are coming to do.
They say the toilet is smelling, and you're
it's smelling. Is there any toilet which that don't smell? Is there any toilet in the world which that don't smell? Are you know that people? If you are saying you are doing the metro, why don't you come and do? Why don't you come and do the toilet?
You are not supposed to sell cigarettes. You are not supposed to use newspaper.
Do you know that there are people who are going to who be going to toilet without a scribe? They cannot go and do that.
It is wrong.
It's your toilet. If your toilet will not smelling. There is no any other toilet which that don't smell. If you close it, the people will definitely themselves here. They will shit around, and there is no toilet here.
Well, that's heated exchange between AMA public officials in there, and my colleague Manuel Kranting, watching that video, he's the one I was worried about. But Pizzo,
yes,
South Africa, you don't have this, eh? Don't worry. That makes us Ghanaian.
That's right.
Of course. What's in showbiz, my Pizzo?
Before we go to showbiz, Unim say, oh, tie, me say, Unim say, Asante Kotoko, Yeveshe. Oh, remember it's time for showbiz. It's time for showbiz. You can't. Rose. Why is it a church song? Are we going to church? What?
Masters. You will see something.
Oh, please, we won't see anything.
Okay, give us showbiz.
All right, so in showbiz, we had a very exciting week in terms of music. But here are some few songs from Omar Sterling, King Promise, RTBs, and also J-Bad that you haven't heard.
I fell out of love with rap, I'm back in it. Tell all your favorite rappers they all finished. This life ain't fair, we drink Guinness.
Is that where you find why? Is there any woman here to the side, why? Mommy,
Don't come about me losing, come up losing everything now. Oh, okay, so that last song is called Feeling by Buju, and it's been trending throughout the week, so I thought I should put
that's
it there.
it for me. Stands out.
That's right.
Yay! And that's it for the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. My Joy Online story is making headline. PAC surcharges 2 ministers for ignoring invitation to answer 2017 Auditor General's report queries. Also, AG can represent police service in Fix the Country injunction case. High Court rules. That's coming in. And then Kumasi floods destroy wares at Ketia Market. And of course, 2 persons have already died as a result. I am MFR Paul. Thanks so much for your company. On behalf of the entire team, we say thank you for being a part of the Midday News. Watch out for the super clash is Phobia. Have a good afternoon.
If we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change.
Winning strategies, nuggets of wisdom, unforgettable stories, all in one inspirational hour. Springboard your virtual university with Albert and Comfort Okran and guests.
Planning is bringing the future into